I'm Alyssa and I wrote a book. Well, the first draft of one anyway. If you're anything like me, revision is where everything falls apart and you're left with the crumbling skeleton of a book that needs your constant attention to put it back together. Welcome to my series where I complete a major revision in 6 weeks. You know, we've reached it. Time to write Act 2 Part 2. Which, as you may remember, is my mortal enemy. But I'm excited about it because I'm actually getting to write new scenes. It's always a little bit daunting to write a fresh scene into an already revised book because you've already kind of done that pass, so everything has that cleaner feel. And so to go in with something just like raw again, time will tell. It's also like super hazy outside. Look at that. I feel like I'm on like a Scottish moor, you know? Everyone, I've remembered that I'm a little angry at myself because I did this thing where for the first 12 chapters of the book, I had very detailed, like, here's all the things that need to change for this chapter. And then I just vibed. Then it says chapter 13, and then it just, like, has everything else for the rest of the book. So, I didn't realize how close we were to that. Okay. I'm panicking. Okay. We're all gonna make it. This oatmeal is really getting me through. Okay. This scene always makes me emotional. This tripod is rebelling against me. I'm gonna talk to you because I'm trying to figure out a plot point. I think talking to you is a better solution. Well, eventually I'm gonna have to figure out the plot point, but I'm just gonna think about it for a second. Anyway, procrastination. First of all, I got a bougie water bottle. It's a gift to myself. Got a new job. Also, I spent a lot of money at Kohl's, but we don't need to talk about Kohl's. We'll get there. Kohl's is amazing. Anyway, so I think what's interesting about revising is, but you don't really know how much is enough. So for example, the main point of this revision is introducing a major plot point into the book. But the core, like the part where I'm going to be writing new scenes is coming up in the next chapter. Like I'm just coming up to that point where I'm going to be writing scenes, fully changing scenes, chopping out characters, adding in different ones, adding concrete dialogue. And so up until this point, it's been just like a very careful, like adding in 3 or 4 lines, deleting something, adding in a detail, making sure all of the foreshadowing lines up, right? Like I feel like I won't know until I've read through the whole thing again. But then even then I know what's coming. So it's harder to like see if the fluidity, if me adding in a couple paragraphs here and a couple paragraphs there is like still contained in a fluid story. Like I feel like it's gonna take another reader. It is, should I tell you what date it is? Do you wanna know? It's kind of like we're living in this timeless space, right? This week has been kind of wild, actually. Aside from the galaxy light, life-changing. Life-changing. I still didn't figure out my plot point. I really thought maybe I would have. I was editing the footage from this vlog so far and I realized I've like really just been at my desk, which is really good and I'm happy for myself. And I tried, but you know what? It's Friday afternoon. Let's hit up Barnes. Listen. I always think about it like this. Like, some people are spending a lot of money on children. Other things that make them spend money. So let's go through the haul. It's a good one. I got Assistant to the Villain. I've seen everybody raving about it, and it's just such a fun concept. I think it's about somebody who's hired as the assistant to the villain, shockingly enough. Then I have a Catherine Center book. I've just been loving everything that Catherine Center writes. Things You Save in the Fire. I think it's about a firefighter. Project Hail Mary, which I've just heard a lot of really good things about, and I want to read more sci-fi generally, so. And then I got the new The Scarlet Veil, which is about a side character from Serpent and Dove, which I read last year. And it wasn't like my all-time favorite book series or anything like that, but I read the premise and it sounds really good, and it's following a character that I was always really interested in. This sticker, oh, that's diabolical. Do you see that? Diabolical. Barnes and Noble. I thought I would get a new candle for NaNoWriMo to like have a different scent. And so I got Plot Twist. This Plot Twist smells like chills and thrills. Okay, we're coming up upon that time again. It's not a specific time, it's just like a feeling. Sometimes it's really helpful for me to like make every writing time special. Like, get the candle out. Like, ooh, go to a coffee shop. Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes that's really helpful to like make writing this exciting thing. But what's happening is I'm feeling like I want writing to be easy. Or like the experience of it to be easy. And I think I've just been doing a lot of like romanticizing it, which is good. But then it's not as easy to just like, let me just like actually just write for the story rather than for the vibes. I feel like I just want to say this because I think sometimes you feel like when you're having to force yourself to write that you're like not as good of a writer. You're not as like committed enough as a writer. You're not inspired. Like most people, like, shouldn't you just be thinking about your story all the time? But not feeling that way all the time does not make you less of a writer. I can look back and I can physically see, like when I'm editing time lapses of myself, I can see myself like getting ideas and getting inspired, and like being able to see that on your face is just like the easiest way to combat imposter syndrome, because right now it's 6:30, nothing else this evening. I have this really exciting new scene to write tonight. If I can just like actually sink in and actually just do it, it's gonna be great. But right now I really don't want to write. But that doesn't make me any less of a writer. I think writing for the vibes is just as valid as writing for the story. And I think it often goes hand in hand. It's not like when I'm writing for the vibes, which I would consider like, oh, it's raining. Like, let me write for the vibes. That doesn't mean the words that I'm writing are any less. I sometimes will say, if I'm coming upon a really important scene, I like will wait to be in the right headspace for it. But most of the time it's like, let's just get in there. Let's just see.
Blah.
About how early the sun sets. It's only, I guess it's 8. But why is the sun set already? I just went to the gym and I am so tired, but not. I also feel like I have a lot of energy. I made this playlist. I'll pull it up. It's called Diet Coke, and the reason it's called Diet Coke, it serves the same purpose as a Diet Coke at 3 p.m. where it's just like, you just need it to like wake up and just like get you fueled for the rest of the day. Here it is. Can you see that? Diet Coke. Just some absolute bangers. My body is very tired. I like to pretend I'm in a training sequence when I'm at the gym. We do these ultimate bike sprints where you're like holding a plate, like a weight over your head on the bike for like sprints. And I looked up like how much does a sword weigh? And it's like 40 pounds is usually a sword. And so now my goal is to be able to like bike while holding the 40-pound weight up in the air for like a long time so that I could like ride into battle, you know? Let's write this baby. You guys, dictating is amazing. I used to do this a lot in college where I would just do these like slam poems, but they weren't really, they were just like garbage. They were just nothing. But then they were like low-key kind of good. The pages filled with words as the writing poured from my body into my heart, from the tips of my fingers through my just like the most drama. If you watch the video where I went through all my past projects, the 2 scripts that I wrote with my friend Cameron, I just remember we were in this classroom and I would pace around just talking out things and then like talking out the script. Like I would be the characters just like speaking things and then she would write everything down but like make them actual sentences, you know? That was so fun. I just wrote 864 words in the last 15 minutes. To be fair, I think I probably overwrite when I am talking like this. And there's a lot of things that need to be edited because like the words don't make sense, but maybe this only works for people who just like to really dramatically read. Writing is fun. I just had my sort of last day of work yesterday. I decided it would be a good idea to just kind of get out of town a little bit and just relax for a couple of days before I start my new job. And also I do just want to really get, well, I actually just like need to get Act 2 Part 2 done. I feel like once I get to act 3, I do act 3 in like a day. Like I do act 3 very quickly, but I mean, act 3 is the shortest act and it also is very self-contained and very action heavy. It's hard to leave it. So my plan is to definitely finish act 2 part 2 today. Really, like comparatively to the other 2 videos or acts so far, like this is so obviously more work. I'm realizing more and more that I am a bit of a pantser, but not. Is that the word we're using? Puzzler? But specifically with this revision, I'm just kind of like, I know what happens, but there are so many details that I don't know. Pulls out a file from his briefcase. But I fear that with one question comes 100 others, and the answers will just perpetuate this feeling. Regardless of the why or the how, nothing will change.